was the first to be involved in battle. Paul Davies of ITN reports from one of the British Army locations in Saudi Arabia.
British armour on the move. We're not allowed to give the exact location of Britain's two armoured brigades. When Allied commanders decide the time is right to move ground forces into the war, they want to give Iraqi generals as little warning as possible. But when that decision is taken, these men of the Queen's Royal Lancers expect a leading role. Their reconnaissance vehicles, lighter and faster than the tanks, operate in front of the brigade and are likely to be first to engage an enemy. Behind the armour, the 12th Air Defence Regiment is also preparing for a conflict most servicemen see as inevitable. Javelin missiles launched from the shoulder will give ground forces some protection from air attack. The gunners wear protective masks and suits even when training because of the always present risk of chemical attack. Unlike many of the sophisticated weapons here, the regiment's Rapier batteries have a proven record. Today the target is a tiny model aircraft. The missile passes close enough to be counted as a hit. A real plane would have been destroyed. The brigade has now been placed on the highest state of alert. All of us, soldiers and war correspondents alike, are now taking special drugs that give extra protection against chemical weapon attack. The decision to engage ground forces, of course, could be delayed for weeks while the aerial bombardment continues. But that same decision could come at any time.
On Wednesday night, when the battleships Wisconsin and Missouri began launching dozens of precision-guided Tomahawk cruise missiles from somewhere in the Persian Gulf. Cruise missiles are really flying bombs, but incredibly accurate thanks to their satellite inertial navigation systems and the computerized radar maps which check ground contours. And they're virtually undetectable by radar, something they share with the F-117, America's so-called stealth fighters. Besides the cruise missiles, backup stealth planes also flew in to attack Iraq's air defense radars and military communication centers, which had to be knocked out simultaneously. Immediately behind them, British and American electronic jamming aircraft also approached, radiating powerful signals. The result was that within minutes, key Iraqi radars were first blinded and then destroyed. Meanwhile, AWACS aircraft circling over Saudi Arabia guided waves of strike planes to the Priority 1 targets, the fixed Scud missile sites and Iraqi air bases threatening Israel. American planes used low-light TV cameras and laser target designators to guide smart bombs onto key targets through known weak points, such as the Defense Ministry's rooftop ventilators and the steel doors of a concrete missile store. RAF Tornadoes, which don't have smart bombs, swept in at low level using their JP-233 runway denial weapons. The pilots had to get it right first time, because flying straight and level along the length of a runway, which is what using the JP-233 means, only works if you achieve total surprise. The attacks continued round the clock. Priority 2 went to Saddam Hussein's poison gas and germ warfare production lines and his nuclear research centers. Priority 3 targets included the telephone exchange, TV studios, and Baghdad's power stations. Knocking out electricity supplies cut off light, heating, water, and even petrol pumps. Meanwhile, what of occupied Kuwait and the 500,000 Iraqi troops there? By far the heaviest attack on the first night was a strike by B-52 bombers against Saddam Hussein's elite Republican Guard forces. The US Air Force said they dropped some very big bombs. These were probably fuel-air explosives, bombs filled with propane gas which, when ignited, produces devastating shock waves and suffocates people sheltering in bunkers. In the first 72 hours, the Allies launched well over 4,000 combat sorties for the known loss of 14 aircraft, far fewer than the planners could dare to have hoped. Their main success was to suppress Iraq's military response for a vital 24 hours. Their main failure was being unable to prevent some of Saddam Hussein's mobile Scud launchers from firing missiles at Israel. The other problem is that so far they hadn't brought the Iraqi Air Force to battle. The vast majority of Saddam Hussein's warplanes and his pilots fled to isolated bases in the north. Once the few remaining Iraqi Scuds have been found and attacked, destroying the IAF will become the top priority. Only after that will Phase 2 of the air campaign begin.